Hello everyone, this is Jason Fain from Instructional Design and Development, and today I'm going to be talking to you everyone about the Wimba voice tools. Now, the Wimba voice tools are really nice in the scenario that you want to either convey your own emotion or you want to hear the emotions behind your students' responses. So it's a little bit more robust than just having, let's say, a normal discussion board where you just type things out, because things like sarcasm are more easily detected when you have the voice element added with it. So to add one of the Wimba voice tools, let's go ahead and take a look at that. We're going to have to begin by clicking Add Content Link. And when I do that, all of these tools here that begin with voice are some of the Wimba voice tools. We have the voice board, which works like a discussion board. We have the voice email, which works like email. We have voice presentation, which it can work to present over an HTML web page, but you may want to consider using Wimba Live Classroom in another one of our tutorials to present your content. We have the voice recorder, which works as something like the announcements tool. And then at the very end, we have the Wimba podcaster. It's the only one that doesn't have voice in front of it. But the Wimba podcaster actually allows you to give a series of lectures, which will kind of automatically go into the student's iTunes. So that's a really neat tool as well. So for this tutorial, I'm actually going to show you how to add the Wimba podcaster. But instead of adding it to our main homepage here, I actually thought what I would do is add it to one of our learning modules. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click into Learning Modules, and I'm going to click into the module I want to add my podcaster tool to. So let's say the very first module. So I'm going to click the first module, and again, I have the same add content link. It doesn't have the icon, but it's the same add content link, and you'll see the same options available. So in this scenario, I'm going to go ahead and add the Wimba podcaster, and if I scroll down, it's going to say create Wimba podcaster. That's the button I'm going to have to click because I don't have any existing podcasts available. So I can create the Wimba podcast and then give it a title. So let's just say testing podcaster. I can click continue. And okay, I think I'm going to allow the same standard content just because it'll travel over the internet faster. I can allow students to post to this podcast as well. So maybe I have an excellent lecture over the podcast, but then I want students to be able to respond or ask questions, or maybe I even want the students to interact with each other. So if I allow students to post, all of that will be able to occur. Let's go ahead and check that just so students will have that opportunity to interact with others. And we can also podcast auto-publish after 5 minutes. So what this is doing, we can actually set this to 0 minutes. It's when I finish recording, how long does it take to get to the students? Now, if you may have said something that you may have say things and then forget about things until 30 minutes later when you say, oh, I should have added this. If you set it to like an hour, you can give yourself an hour before that goes out to students so that you can make corrections or add more to your lectures. But in my scenario, I'm just going to go with 0 minutes and click continue. And that'll put my teaching podcaster there. So what I'm going to do to get into that is I'm going to switch to Teach View to get into that podcasting tool. So I'm going to go back into Teach, go into Learning Modules, and then go into Module 1. And then there is my testing podcaster. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that link. And it may take a while for Java to kind of load everything. Now once it's loaded, what's really nice is this one-click button right here will allow students to subscribe using iTunes. So if they have iTunes, they can click this button, and as you see, it would launch the application iTunes. I don't really want to subscribe to this because this is my sample podcaster, so I'll go ahead and click cancel now. But for students, you can see where it's one click and it subscribes, and that means instead of them having to even log into Blackboard to get your lecture content, it just goes straight into iTunes and possibly straight into their iPod, their iPhone if they have one, or other Apple connected device. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and record my first podcaster, and I'm just going to click New, and then I can give it a subject. So I'm going to call this one Hello World. I'm going to click Record, and as I record, you can see my voice going green and red. That lets me know it's recording. I can click Stop when I'm finished, and then I can always play it back, and I can hear myself now talking while I talk to you guys. Now, if you have any students that may be hard of hearing, then you also want to put the same message here, an equivalent message for those who are hard of hearing, and then you can click Post. So, message here, and then Post. And this kind of concludes our very first Wimba podcasting tool.